Hello and welcome to a story about a very beautiful bird, the Gouldian finch. During the next few minutes you will see what the Gouldian finch looks like, where it lives, what it eats, and why there are worries about the future of the Gouldian finch.
If you are lucky enough to see a Gouldian finch in the wild, it is something you will never forget. But you have to be in Northern Australia because that is the only place where they can be found in the wild. And there aren't many left in the wild. The key areas you find them now are the Kimberley region of Western Australia, around Katherine in the Northern Territory, and sometimes in the Gulf country of the Territory. Some of the reasons the Gouldian Finch Recovery Team think there aren't so many has to do with changes in the way we look after our land and how that affects the important food sources that Gouldians need to survive. That's why it's important to have the help of landholders to manage some of the threats to this beautiful bird and the country it lives in, or else this lovely bird will fall from endangered species to extinct species. Adult Gouldians are distinctly coloured, and the males are brighter than the females. This is a male Gouldian, and this is a female Gouldian. See how much brighter coloured the male is to the female? And they can have either a black or red head, or sometimes even an orange head. Now take a look at the juveniles. See how different they look? They don't really look like a Gouldian at all. The juveniles are a plain olive green colour with a black bill. Depending on how old they are, the bright coloured feathers might have started to grow through. Other finches will mix with Gouldians at waterholes such as masked finches, long-tailed finches, and sometimes Pictorella mannikins. By the time the late dry season comes around, water is becoming scarce and the Gouldians, like a lot of other birds, rely on small shallow pools of water that are left in the creek beds as they dry out. This is the time of year when Gouldians are easiest to find. They usually drink from these small waterholes in the early morning every day. So at the end of the dry season, the Gouldian Finch Recovery Team count the Gouldians and other finches that come in for a drink. That's called monitoring, and it's done every year. Both the juvenile and adult Gouldians are counted. What concerns the recovery team is how the numbers of Gouldians seen in Northern Australia has changed, and today there are only a few places to find them. Gouldian finches live on different types of grass seeds at different times of the year, and they move around to find them. Where they eat in the dry season is different from the wet season. If the wet season food gets burnt by fire in the dry, then the Gouldians have less food. And this is what the late, very hot dry season fires do. They burn out the only food the Gouldians have in the wet season. Too many of these late fires and there won't be enough food for the Gouldians to survive through the wet. What's better are small, patchy, early dry season fires, which can help open up the country. These don't burn all the food, and you will see Gouldians coming to eat up the speargrass seeds on the ground after these early fires. Also, the early dry season is the time when Gouldians are nesting and raising their young, so they need a good feed of grass seeds for quite a few months. They make their nest in the hollow branches of the smooth-barked snappy or salmon gums, which are as beautiful as the finches. Please be careful with fire, especially after June, because that's when the grass has dried out, and once a fire starts, they can burn over really big areas. So let's look after country. If there are too many hot dry season fires burning the Gouldian country every year, the Gouldians will go hungry. There is also research looking at cattle grazing on different types of grass eaten by Gouldians and whether that is a problem too. This will help not only the Gouldian finch, but also lots of other birds as well.
If you see Gouldian finches or you have them regularly on your country and you want to help protect them, please contact the Parks and Wildlife Service at the address shown on this video.